Man, I love to play the blues on saxophone. It's an awesome style to learn as a saxophone player. But the problem is, for most people starting out with learning the blues, they kind of miss the point and they're focusing on the wrong things. And consequently, the solos end up sounding not very convincing and not authentic, and it's just not fun. So in today's lesson, I want to share with you 3 essential blues techniques that will help you to capture that blues style more and actually make the process of understanding how to become a blues saxophone player much easier. Now, this will work for you whether you're a beginner player, or whether you're coming back to saxophone, or even if you've been playing for ages, but now you're finally starting to learn about improvising. Plus, I've got a PDF and a practice track that you can use to start learning this stuff as well. It's absolutely free, and I'll tell you about that in a second. Right, lots to talk about today. Let's get stuck in. So we're talking about blues this month because in Sax School, it's actually Blues Month. We're focusing on the blues. And in fact, I've written a really cool challenge song that our members are learning called Ramblin' Blues. And so we're talking about blues, we're learning about blues skills, and we're having loads of fun actually with our members sharing videos about their process of learning the blues too. So that's what I do. My name's Nigel. I run a thing called Sax School. We've got thousands and thousands of students from all around the world that learn with us every week and every month and every day actually. And each month we have a new challenge. So that's why we're doing the blues. Now, I'm not sure if you saw it, but one of our tutors, Dean Hilson, who is a fabulous blues player from Australia and teaches on the Sax School team, he put out a video this week about a legendary blues player called Sam the Man Taylor. I'll put a link up here actually. You should go check that out if you've not seen it yet. Obviously not till the end of this video, but Sam the Man Taylor is one of my favorite blues players too. He's one of Dean's favorite players and a big inspiration for him. The reason I love Sam the Man Taylor though is because not only was he an iconic player that sort of changed the direction of blues saxophone, but his style is really easy to understand. And I think if you're beginning to learn how to play the blues, players like Sam the Man Taylor are a great template because they do all the things that we're going to talk about today. Oh, I mentioned that there's a free PDF and practice track for today's lesson, and you can check that out from the link down below. It's completely free. What we do is we grab all of the free stuff that we give away here at Sax School, and there's loads of it, and we bung it in the locker, and you just need to register for that from the blog, and then you get access to all the free stuff too. So dig in, fill your boots, have some fun. Oh, by the way, did you notice my stand's empty over there? My Barry Sax is getting serviced at the moment. I'll have to make a video about that when it comes back from Steve Crow, the repairer. So the very first tip I want you to really focus on, this sounds simple, but it is super important and most people miss it. So your lines must be simple rhythmically. You've got to focus on having really simple rhythms. That really applies for all improvising, but for blues it's essential. And particularly if you're talking about the sort of down and dirty, simple, groovy blues that you hear from someone like Sam the Man Taylor that I mentioned earlier. You've got to remember that this music, it was dancing music. It's music that people would listen to, connect with, move to. So the rhythm is so important. So when you're improvising, and this is such a great thing if you're just starting out with improvising, when you're improvising, you can just stick to simple rhythms like whole count notes and half beat notes. So we're talking about crotchets and quavers or eighth notes and quarter notes. Now on the PDF, I've got 3 little rhythms that you can use as a starting point. These are dead simple, and these are all crotchets and quavers or quarter notes and eighth notes. Now I'm going to demonstrate in the tenor saxophone, but if you grab the free PDF, it's also transposed for alto saxophone. And to keep things simple, I'm using a backing track in the key of A flat concert. Why A flat concert, Nigel? Well, because the Midnight Rambler transcription from Dean Hilson's video that I mentioned earlier, the Sam the Man Taylor video, that is in the key of A flat concert. So it's good, I think, to learn some skills over that key area, because then if you wanted to grab that free transcription as well and have a go at improvising on it, then you've got a bit of a head start. So let's look at these 3 simple rhythms. They're dead easy. The first one is literally 3 one-count notes. So 1, 2, 3, That's pretty easy. The second one, you're probably thinking it's too easy, but don't worry. The second rhythm sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, Yeah, that's it. Easy. And the third rhythm sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Easy. Just to prove that you can actually make a solo using these simple rhythms, I'm going to pop the track on now and have a jam through trying to combine these rhythms and see if I can make a solo that feels energetic but is so simple. This is a brilliant first step. Have a listen. Okay, so I got a bit carried away toward the end there, but you can see that just a simple rhythm can really work if you use it in the right way. So keep your rhythm simple as you start improvising and have some fun with that. Right, what's next? Now, if you've watched any of my other blues lessons or improvising lessons full stop, or even if you're a Sax School member, you'll know that one of my favorite sayings is to keep your melody lines really, really simple, and that's exactly what I'm suggesting we do here. So this is even more important if you're just starting out with improvising. You've got to keep your note choices really, really simple. There's so many ways that we can expand on our melody choices. In fact, I made a great video about how to make your lines more interesting. I'll put the link up here for you. But you know what? If we're just getting started out, the most important things is that we're getting a clear framework and some clear guidelines about how we can improvise. So we're really comfortable, we're confident with how we can make our lines and solos that actually work. And from there, we can build things out. And this is why I think it's super important to start with really, really simple melody lines. In fact, I'm going to suggest it's a blues. We can just start with the first 4 notes of a blues scale. You can start with 2 notes, but let's make it a bit more interesting. On the PDF down here, I've written 4 notes out. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to put the backing track on now and make a start at just seeing if I can use those 4 notes to make up a solo that sounds good. The thing is, you see, if I keep my rhythm simple, like I just mentioned in the first point, and couple that with a simple melody line by having clear, simple note choices, put those 2 things together, you've really got a winning formula for a solo that is going to work. And just to remember here, we're talking about getting the foundations right so that then we can build on this to make something that's a bit more flamboyant and a bit more exciting. It's about getting the principles right. Let's have a listen. Right, so our third tip is attitude. I know it sounds simple, doesn't it? But it's actually really, really important. Here's the thing, right? When you listen to a great blues saxophone player, you're not just listening to the notes, you're listening to the attitude, the physicality of the way they're playing. And let me tell you, those players are working really, really hard. They're not just playing the notes. They are really connecting with the music and they're playing with attitude. How do we do that? How do we connect with our music and get that same attitude in our playing? Well, if we're going to sort of break it down into its elements, I'm talking about using aggressive articulation. I'm talking about being really firm about where the music fits on the beat. Remember, this is dancing music. We're also going to be experimenting with dynamics to create interest. We're going to be making notes short. We're going to be making notes more emphasized. We're going to be really trying to feel in our body the energy and the excitement that we hear when we listen to these great recordings. Let me give you a quick example. So if you look on the PDF, here's the first phrase. I'm just going to play it straight as if it's just maybe like a classical piece. So it sounds like this. 2, 8, oh. I swung it, but it sounds pretty normal. But if I played it with some attitude, imagine that I'm in a blues club. There's a room full of people. They're going mental. The band's grooving behind me, and I'm excited. I might play like this. 1, 2, 8. Or even up the octave. So do you hear I play the first note harder And then I accented the second note. And then the last note, I cut it nice and short so that it had more emphasis to it, more energy. This is a small point, but it's something that's most commonly missed. And I can't tell you how many times I've had people who've joined sax school and said, my solos sound just a bit boring. They sound humdrum. How do I make them sound more exciting? And one of the most important things that they're most commonly missing is attitude. So what's the next steps for you? Well, if you grab the PDF from the link down below, go grab it from the locker, then spend some time practicing along using those 3 techniques that I spoke about today. Start by making some simple melodies using just crotchets and quavers or quarter notes and eighth notes. Expand it out to use 2 or 3 or maybe 4 note choices. And remember, all the way along, keep that attitude in there so you're really trying to connect with the music. Now, there's another lesson coming up soon on my channel here where I'm going to be giving you an easy blues jam where you can put all this stuff into action. But in the meantime, I'd suggest that you spend plenty of time listening to artists like Sam the Man Taylor that I mentioned earlier on, or there's loads of other stuff on my blog too about guys like Lee Allen or Red Prysock if you're a sax school member, or if you have the Blues Mastery course. Red Prysock is a saxophone player that we dig into a lot. He is incredible for this sort of style of playing and these using these elements we talked about: simple melodies, simple rhythms, and attitude. So have some fun with that. Don't forget to explore the other things on the channel here. Don't forget to go and see what we're doing over at Sax School as well. And if you're serious about really making some progress, then consider joining our 14-day trial and checking out the lessons for yourself, because then you can be part of our monthly challenges. And I'd love to see you start to make some great progress with your improvising, with your stylistic playing, and with your musicality in general. That's all waiting for you over at Sax School. Most importantly though, have some fun. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.